Alright, in this video we are going to be talking about a new oath that has been added called Silent Heart. Now, this is the newest oath to be added since the drop of Layer 2, obviously excluding the ones that dropped with Layer 2, and it's definitely an interesting one. It's not anything super unique, but it's not like any of the other oaths, so that's pretty cool. So what Silent Heart is described as, the description says, you vow to reject the words of the song, denying yourself of mantras in pursuit of your own path to strength, no matter the cost. So, obviously, this means that you can't use any mantras, which sounds pretty big, but the immediate effects you get by getting this oath are 5 posture and 10 health just by getting it, so that's always nice. And you are given a few passives. Obviously, no mantras, straight passives, but the passives are supposed to be, used within a attunementless build. I would love to see if somehow, some way, I don't know if you can, since it says you do reject the words of the song, but if you can use this oath within a attunement slot, maybe, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that's not possible, but I would still love to see it, combine the flourishes with like a flame flourish or something like that, or still try to proc, suffocate or the stun off of Thunder Call, something like that. I would love to see things like that because attunements aren't completely useless without their mantras. So, I don't know. It's just a thought. But regardless, it's intended to be used with attunementless builds, and its abilities go like this. So your first ability is called Merciless Blade. You can now execute enemies much faster. Nothing interesting, just, probably useful for ganking, but that's about the limit. Dread Fighter. Parrying, landing criticals, and flourishes now give you stacks of dread. Each stack increases your mantra resistance, but you lose a stack if you get hit by a mantra. Now, sounds really good. I don't know how much each stack of dread, nullifies mantra effects or ups your mantra resistance, but I know it's obviously going to be up for testing. I'm going to assume it's a lot considering the fact, obviously, you don't get mantras. So it's sort of like the only way to counter this build is if you're also running attunementless. But it sounds really interesting. I wonder what the max stack is because it says it stacks, but obviously it's not going to stack infinitely or else you just, never run out of dread because it's not really that hard to parry and land crits and flourishes. So, yeah. Next we have Lodestar, which is parrying mantras now silences your enemy temporarily, disabling their ability to cast further mantras. Now this is really, really big because parrying is something that's going to happen all the time when you fight. So as long as you're good with your parries, you're likely to never have to deal with any mantras being casted at you if you have Silent Heart. So that's really, really big. Ankle Cutter. Now this is like uppercut. You can now do a ground slash while sliding, applying a temporary speed debuff and preventing jumping to enemies hit. Wait, and preventing jumping to enemies hit? I don't really know what that means. Anyway, Ankle Cutter. I don't know how this is gonna work with uppercut because how I usually land my uppercuts is I slide into them, but if you can't slide into them without doing Ankle Cutter instead, I don't know if Ankle Cutter is better. Not really sure what it does other than the speed debuff. I don't know what it means by preventing jumping to enemies hit. Whatever, we're just gonna skip past it. Look at it as a uppercut variation, I guess, but without the uppercut. True Vantage. Venting makes you invisible briefly while boosting your speed. So that's really big too, actually, because it sounds almost like a Vanishing follow-up, or no, not like Vanishing follow-up, like Ghost. Did they remove Ghost? I'm pretty sure they removed Ghost, but True doesn't say. Does that say Vantage? Yeah. Venting makes you invisible briefly while boosting your speed. So yeah, it's pretty much just a second Ghost, but every time you vent, unless there's a cooldown I don't know about. But yeah, every time you vent, being able to just go invisible, kind of recuperate, it'll allow you to dodge big moves. If you just time a well-timed vent will allow you to dodge really big moves, so that's nice. It also allows you to counterattack from your vent, I'd assume, because if you vent, they get knocked back. You use your invisibility while with your speed boost to gap close. That's really, really nice. I could imagine some really cool attunementless mix-ups. You could do a lot with this, despite what it looks like, because it does seem like it would be one of those ones that's boring. There's not much you can do with it, but I do think that there's actually a good bit that you could do with Silent Heart. Considering the fact that it is attunementless, you wouldn't assume you know there's that much combo potential because there's no skills to combo with. But I think with all these passives, with the right talents, and with the right weapon especially, because you could go lame, you could go a heavy weapon like a Hive Lord's Hubris and kind of just immediately mitigate any chance to do any cool mix-ups. Or you could use a cool spear with an interesting crit, or you could use any weapon with an interesting crit, or like maybe you could use a Petra's Anchor or a Rail Blade or whatever that the spear that those one people use, the Nevaeans use. That would have some crazy mix-ups too. I think there is a lot of potential to this. I don't think people are going to see it at first, but definitely a week or two from now, you're definitely going to see some clips of people absolutely going crazy with Silent Heart. And I do think this will be a huge meta oath, especially for PvP. This realistically doesn't look like it has any PvE potential. I think it's a solid, super good, probably one of the best, if not the best, PvP oaths. I don't know how to get it. I'm not gonna lie. I could theorize and talk about things that I think, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just here to tell you what the oath is, the fact that it exists, because there's not that many videos out on it right now. There's like a couple, but yeah, no idea how to get the oath. I just know what it does and what it looks like. So yeah, it's cool. It's definitely cool. I'm definitely a big fan of it, and I am a little bit, curious on mainly just two things. Again, the first thing, I am curious if you can mix it with other attunements. I don't know if you have to be attunementless. It does say that you upgrade it by killing attunement trainers, and I do know that it says you reject the words of the song, which would insinuate that you can't have an attunement, because having an attunement is the song pretty much. But I'm just saying, it would be cool to, have Flame Charm, and on flourishes you do some cool, Flaming Flourish, because it's not a mantra, it would be a talent, and it's passive, and I just think that would be pretty cool, or like a Flaming Uppercut. But hey, that's just me. Again, probably not the case, probably attunementless. If you're going to go for this, I would go attunementless first, maybe on another slot try to go for it with an attunement, see what happens. But yeah, and then the other thing I was thinking is, how does this fare off against the other oaths? You have your Dawnwalker, you have your Jet Striker, you have your Blind Seer, you have your Star Kindred. I'm just curious on how it, how it would match up, because against Contractor, I feel like Contractor was big, like overrated. I don't think it's that good of an oath. Excuse me if I'm wrong. It is. I feel like it's one of those like almost cosmetic oaths. In PvP, it doesn't seem that great. Dawnwalker's always solid. Arc Warder's always solid. Star Kindred could be better. Jet Striker is actually pretty cool. It's one of the better ones. It's actually pretty easy to get. And Link Strider is a weird one, if we're being honest. There's also Vision Shaper and Blind Seer, but those are old ones. Vision Shaper is really annoying to put up with, and I do think that Vision Shaper would be one of the ones that Silent Heart kind of struggles to go up against, because pairing it would be a little weird. But I think as for other oaths, I think honestly Silent Heart kind of, in my opinion, I think it'd be better. It's definitely not the funnest oath. It's probably going to be a really boring oath. I'm saying gonna like it's not in the game. I think it's a boring oath just based off of reading the descriptions, but that's just me. Anyway, I'm done rambling. I've been rambling for the last 2 minutes about nothing pretty much. You guys got the information you wanted. If you're still watching at this point, like the video. Appreciate you making it this far. I will see you guys at the next one. Peace.